All right, so today we're diving deep into the world of Bert Blevins, this IT pro who seems to be doing it all, like, seriously. This guy's everywhere. We've got his website, articles he's written, even some YouTube videos to dig through. So let's see if we can figure out what makes him tick.
Yeah, he's a bit of a puzzle, isn't he? I mean, you don't usually see someone with a background in advertising, an MBA, end up in cybersecurity. It's an interesting path, to say the least.
Yeah, you got that right. It's definitely not the typical path, like straight out a comp sci degree. So does that advertising background actually come in handy in the tech world? Do you think it gives him an edge or something?
Oh, for sure. Think about it. IT these days, it's not just about knowing the tech. It's about explaining those complex ideas. Making it understandable, basically selling those solutions, even managing those teams. Those business skills, those soft skills, they're gold, man.
Right, makes sense. And speaking of communication, this guy's all about knowledge sharing. Seriously, Rotary Club, American Heart Association, even SharePoint user groups, how does he find the time?
That SharePoint thing is not just attending. He was the president of the Houston SharePoint user group. That tells you something. That's leadership. Not just participation. This isn't just someone building a resume, it's someone who genuinely cares about raising the bar for everyone in the field.
You're right, and that's the kind of person you want guiding you through the complexities of cybersecurity. Right? Not just some consultant looking for a quick buck. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. His YouTube channel, I was checking it out, and he's got this sort of three-part approach, right?
He's got a system, for sure. First, you've got the Delinea videos. Delinea, for those who don't know, they're a software company big on cybersecurity, and their specialty is this thing called Privileged Access Management. PM, they call it.
PM, huh?
Yeah.
All right, break that down for me. Why is this PM thing so important? What's the big deal?
Imagine this, right? Someone in your company, they click a bad link, get phished. Now, imagine that person. They've got admin access to everything, your systems, your data, everything. That's a disaster waiting to happen. PM is it's like having this super strict bouncer at the door of your IT systems, controlling who has the keys to the kingdom. It's about managing those super user accounts, making sure they don't become easy targets for hackers.
Okay, so it's not just about keeping those passwords safe, it's about limiting the damage, even if someone does get in.
Exactly. And Bert, well, he seems to be the Delinea whisperer, at least from his videos.
He even wrote a whole book exploring cloud-based privileged access management. I mean, that's pretty specific, right? Is that something our listeners actually need to worry about?
Oh, it's becoming more and more relevant, especially as everyone and their grandma moves their stuff to the cloud. The old ways of doing security, they don't always cut it in the cloud. PM, it addresses those unique challenges, securing those privileged accounts where it matters most.
So he's kind of ahead of the curve here, focusing on something most folks haven't even thought about yet. Smart.
For sure. And he doesn't just scratch the surface. He gets into the weeds in his book, The Technical Details. That's dedication. Okay, moving on. Second category. General cybersecurity best practices. Stuff everyone should be doing, but let's be honest, most people aren't.
You mean like changing our passwords every other week, not using the same password for everything, that kind of stuff?
He covers all that, the basics, but he also dives into some more interesting things, like oath. OTP MFA, ever heard of that?
Okay, now you're just using acronyms to scare me. What in the world is that?
Open authentication, time-based, one-time password, but honestly, it sounds way scarier than it is. Basically, it's like having an extra lock on your door, another layer of security for your accounts. Use this app, right? It generates these unique codes. These codes change all the time, so even if someone steals your password, they're stuck.
So double the protection sounds like a good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Bert, he actually walks you through it step by step in the video.
Yeah.
Shows you how to use those authenticator apps like Google Authenticator, all that good stuff.
Now, that's what I call actionable advice. You listen to this guy, you actually walk away knowing how to do something to protect yourself.
All right, but there's one more category of videos, and this is the one I was most, skeptical about.
The cloud security ones.
With the threats you never knew existed kind of titles.
Yeah, those. A little bit clickbaity, aren't they? Or is there some actual substance behind those scary titles?
To be honest, I was pleasantly surprised. He gets into some pretty interesting concepts, like enumerating cloud services, Not giving away secrets or anything, but more about making people aware of those hidden vulnerabilities in cloud systems.
Okay, hold on. Back up a second. Enumerating cloud services. You're going to have to dumb that down for me.
Think of it like a burglar, right, casing a house. They're not just going to smash the door down without checking things out first. They're going to look for unlocked windows, try the doorknobs, see if there's an alarm system, that kind of thing.
So enumerating cloud services is like the hacker's recon mission.
Exactly. After they get into a system, they start poking around, trying to figure out what cloud services are being used, like Azure AD, Office 365, all that. Once they know it's there, they can plan their attack.
So it's not just fear-mongering, it's about knowing your enemy.
Right.
Understanding those tactics so you can better defend yourself.
Exactly. And Bert, he does a great job of bringing those threats to light, which I think is really valuable.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. His videos alone are a treasure trove of information. But there's still more to explore. His books, the website, even some interesting stuff about his personal life, which might give us some insight into his approach to IT. But we'll save that for the next part of our deep dive.
It's amazing, how he just shifts gears like that. Videos, books, leading those user groups, he does it all. Really shows how adaptable he is.
Yeah, for sure. It's like he's turned this passion for IT into this multi-pronged career. Speaking of which, there's something else about this guy that I found really interesting. His love for endurance sports. Did you see that? Marathons, Ironman triathlons. Like, seriously.
No kidding. You got to wonder if there's a link between that kind of mindset, that discipline, and being good at IT. Maybe it's that problem-solving mentality, the ability to just, focus for hours on end.
Or maybe he just really enjoys debugging code for 20 miles straight. But yeah, there could be something to that, right? IT can be a marathon in itself sometimes, those long nights, troubleshooting, trying to fix those tricky problems.
Oh, absolutely. And don't forget about the drones. He's into those too. Always pushing himself, always trying new things.
Which brings us to his website. Bit of a mixed bag, honestly. Tons of information, which is great, but also a lot of buzzwords, Process optimization, emerging innovations, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like a bingo card for consultants these days. The question is, can he back it up?
Yeah.
Does he actually deliver, or is it all just fancy talk?
Right. I mean, he clearly knows his stuff, that's for sure. And we've seen how good he is at explaining things. But does that translate to real-world results for his clients? That's what matters in the end.
Well, the website itself, it's a bit light on specifics, More about showcasing his expertise than showing concrete examples of his work.
True. But one thing's for sure, he makes it easy to contact him. Phone, email, LinkedIn, even his personal Twitter handle. Is that a good thing? Too eager, maybe.
Could be either way, honestly. On one hand, it shows he's accessible, willing to engage, makes you think he's genuinely interested in connecting with people, building those relationships.
But on the other hand, it could also be a sign that he's, casting a wide net, taking on any client who comes knocking. And that can be a red flag sometimes, right?
Absolutely. When you're bringing in a consultant, fit is key. You need someone who gets your industry, understands your specific challenges, and can help you achieve those goals.
So where do we land on Bert Blevins? Is he the real deal or what?
Based on everything we've seen, he's definitely got the skills, the knowledge, and the passion for cybersecurity. And let's not forget, he's a thought leader shaping the conversation around PAM, which, like we said, is becoming super important in the cloud world.
But yeah, I agree. It's hard to say for sure if he's the right fit for every business. We'd need to see more of those concrete examples of his work, those client success stories, to really make a judgment.
Totally agree. But even if you're not looking for a consultant right now, he's someone worth keeping an eye on, especially if you're interested in, the future of cybersecurity and all that.
Okay, so we've gone through a lot. His background, those YouTube videos, his books, even his love for those crazy endurance sports. We've tried to give our listeners a complete picture of who this guy is.
We've looked at his strengths, what he's really good at, and even those potential red flags, those things to watch out for. But the big question is, what does all this mean for our listeners? How can they use this information and apply it to their own lives, their own work?
That's a great point. So, listeners, here's a question for you. If you were to deep dive into one cybersecurity topic, just one, to protect your own data, what would it be? What really stood out to you?
Would you focus on PM? Like we said, it's often overlooked, but it's crucial, especially for those privileged accounts. Or maybe those general best practices, password rotation, multi-factor authentication, all that good stuff.
Or maybe you're intrigued by those cloud security threats that Bert was talking about, and you want to learn more about protecting your data in the cloud. Whatever you choose, we encourage you to check out the sources we've talked about, do your own research, form your own opinions.
That's the best way to learn, right? Dive in, explore, see what resonates with you.
Exactly. And hey, let us know what you think. What were your takeaways from this deep dive? We're always curious to hear what our listeners are thinking.
Your perspective is valuable, and we'd love to learn from you guys. So share those thoughts. Don't be shy.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe out there in the digital world. Going through all this stuff about Bert, it really makes you think about, how important it is to keep learning, especially in IT, right? Everything's changing so fast.
Oh, for sure. It's not just about keeping up with the trends. It's about being adaptable, open to new ideas, always pushing yourself to learn new things.
And Bert, he's a perfect example of that, right? Starting in advertising, then jumping into cybersecurity. It's like he didn't let his past define him.
Totally. He just went for it, followed his interest, learned those new skills, and carved out this niche for himself in a field that's just exploding right now.
It's kind of inspiring, actually. Shows you it's never too late to switch gears, to try something new, even if it seems, I don't know, a little unconventional.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this deep dive, maybe it sparks something in some of our listeners, right? Maybe you're thinking about a career change or just exploring new possibilities in the tech world.
Or maybe it's just made you more aware of your own online security, Inspired you to take those extra steps to protect your data, learn about those emerging threats, just become more savvy online.
That's the power of knowledge, right? It gives you the tools to make those smart decisions, to take control of your own digital life.
Exactly. And I think Bert, in a way, he's part of that, By sharing what he knows, he's helping create a safer, more informed online world, whether he realizes it or not.
He's making a difference, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that about wraps it up for this deep dive into the world of Bert Blevins. Hope you enjoyed the journey.
Thanks for joining us. As always, we'll catch you on the next one.
Keep learning, stay curious, and remember, a little bit of knowledge can go a long way. See ya.